Hey everyone, so I have been testing out a ton of new drugstore launches. It almost feels like the beginning of the year when all of the drugstore brands are releasing entire collections, really fun products, maybe some good dupes or potential dupes. I actually had to split this video into two parts. In today's video, I'm talking about like 20 or 21 new products, and then I'll follow up with a part two in a week or two once I get the chance to thoroughly test all of those as well. But there were some really bad fails this time around, which kind of surprised me because in general, I have such good luck with drugstore products, but definitely some products I don't think are worth the money. A few mediocre products. I mean, they're okay, but they're not necessarily the best in the category I've tried. And then some products that I really do love that I think are going to be some of my favorites for the year. As I was sitting down and like thinking through the pros and cons of each product, I was like, am I being too nitpicky? Like I had a few in my category, like I kind of split it into three categories, like products I love, products that are okay, and then products I don't recommend. And some of the products that were like in the okay category, I moved into the don't recommend category because even though these are affordable products, most of them are under $10, you're still spending money on the products. I definitely don't want to come across as overly negative, but I really try to share like very thorough, detailed reviews, including the pros and the cons, so you can decide whether or not something will work for you. Obviously, we can have different skin types, different preferences, but I try to take all of that into account when I'm testing out a product and reviewing it. And even if it doesn't work for me, then I try to mention if I think it will work for you if you have those different preferences. So anyway, just something I was thinking about as I was getting ready for this video. I never want to come off as overly negative because I do feel like I talk about a lot of products that don't work for me. Some of you tell me that you buy products based on my recommendations, and I always want to make sure I'm just kind of directing you in the way of the highest quality products possible. So anyway, sorry for the long intro. It's just something that came to mind, but let's jump into it. We'll start with a few products that did not work out for me, and then we'll just kind of jump around. Essence let me down this time around. I had some big fails from Essence. I picked up their Luminous eye tints. These are liquid shadows and they look really, really pretty. The swatches look a lot more intense than they actually are. They blend out easily enough. And maybe if you're someone who wants like a barely there hint of color, like something so subtle, these might work out for you. But at the end of the day, they definitely crease on me. They don't stay in place at all. So these were just such a fail. I wanted to love them. They look gorgeous in the actual bottle, but on the eyes, they just don't perform well in my experience. I'm curious to know what you think of these if you've tried them. The next fail from Essence is this one. I can make this one work for me. Like it's not the absolute worst product I've ever tried, but it's not an enjoyable experience. And there's something else that's better than this. Actually, the product I think they tried to dupe. So this is the Essence Thick and Wow Fixing Brow Mascara. It looks just like the NYX Thick It Stick It. It's basically an identical product, but this wand is so much larger. The NYX Thick It Stick It wand is already a little bit too big for my personal preferences, but it's fine. It's a little more tapered, so I feel like it's not quite such a messy application process. I actually did a video fairly recently where I tried a lot of these products out on camera for the first time. So if you want to see them in action, I'll link that video below. But every time I use this, I just end up with such a thick, intense brow. And there's really not a way for me to go in with like a small amount and just fill in the areas I need because the wand is just so big. It's a little bit too oversized for me personally. The formula is fine. It definitely tints the brows. It has some fibers in it, but I just think NYX did it better. Like if I wear these side by side, the NYX one makes my brows look thicker and fuller, and it also holds them into place better. When I go in with the initial layer of this product and let it dry, my brows do fall. I know the NYX product is more expensive. This one is less expensive, but NYX has more shades to choose from, and you can typically get their products on sale on Ulta's website like a few times a year. As soon as I saw these hard candy lip oils, I went on their website and ordered them. I think the packaging is so cute, and I've just been having really good luck with hard candy in general, but I'm sad to say these are a fail for me. First of all, the formula is really good. It's very lightweight, super glossy, it feels hydrating. It's a good everyday lip oil formula. It's very, very sheer, so you definitely don't need to pick up like a ton of shades. They look almost identical on the lips. And all of that sounds great, except for the fact that they have such a strong scent and a strong taste. I feel like I can't fully nail down what it is. It's almost like a citrus scent mixed with plastic, and there's like a little bit of a cleaning product thrown in there. It's really, really terrible. I'm not even someone who's very sensitive to scent. I feel like I could look over the scent if it didn't have that taste, but I just don't like an unpleasant tasting product on my lips because if it's on your lips, I feel like you can taste it constantly. So unfortunately, these are a fail. There are just so many good lip oils out there. I just did a video on all of the best and worst drugstore lip oils under $10. So if you want some really good alternatives, I'll link that video below. I also picked up this product from Hard Candy. In fact, I picked up a few products. I'm in the process of testing a few other products out, but I love the Instapout lip liners. These are only $6 and they feel like a high-end lip liner formula. Even the packaging reminds me of the Buxom plumping lip liners, and I just reviewed those a few weeks ago. And these are just as good, but a fraction of the price. So I have two shades. I'll swatch them for you, but I'm wearing the shade Perfect Match on my lips today. I do have a pretty pigmented lip gloss on top. Where did it go? It's this one. The NYX This Is Milky Gloss in the shade Choco Latte Shake. So I feel like the color you're seeing is mostly this, but again, I'll swatch them for you. These go on so nicely. They're incredibly creamy and so smooth to the point where I was like, those are not going to last on my lips, but they definitely dry down and they stay in place so well. I'm really impressed by these. I like that you have the time to kind of blend them in if you want to. There is a brush on the other side, which the Buxom lip liners also have. Usually I don't use the brush because I feel like, well, with the Buxom ones, I felt like they weren't creamy enough that I could really blend them in, but the Hard Candy ones are very creamy. Like there's time to work with them. So you can definitely blend them in with this brush or like diffuse the edges. But again, they dry down and they stay in place well. They definitely have more of like a matte finish, but I feel like whatever lip product I'm wearing on top definitely lasts longer on top of these. CoverGirl came out with some new yummy glosses. I mean, they launched the yummy glosses at the beginning of the year and I love them. They're one of my favorite lip products ever, but they launched a limited edition Daylight collection, which is based on like, I think they're supposed to be like light reflective, like a variation of nudes basically that reflect, I don't know. I don't really understand the exact inspiration behind the collection, but there are like 6 different nude shades. When I saw the swatches on Ulta's website, I was actually kind of shocked because some of the shades looked very intense compared to the original line. I'll put 2 pictures for you on the screen. A picture of like the original collection swatches. They're all very light, very, very sheer. And then a picture of this collection. So as you can see, there are definitely some deeper shades. Unfortunately, they don't look like the swatches at all. They're still very, very light on the lips. In fact, I got 2 shades. I got number 40 Sunset Skies and then number 60 Moonlight Escape. These basically look identical on the lips. This one is maybe slightly deeper than my lip color, which I feel like is perfect for everyday wear, but I'll swatch them for you. They're basically clear with like a slight tint of color. Honestly, that's fine. That's kind of the reason why I like the original line, but I do feel like the swatches are very misleading. So if you saw this collection and you were intrigued by it like me because they look a little bit different, I wouldn't necessarily run out and buy these. I didn't even get these on sale, so they were kind of expensive. I mean, they're like $10.99 each on Ulta's website. I'll still continue to use them because I love this formula. It's almost like a lip oil formula, like a very light, glossy, thin. It's really, really pretty, just not really any different than the original launch. I also grabbed this mascara from CoverGirl. This is the Lash Blast Cleantopia mascara. I feel like I've had so many CoverGirl hits this year, and it makes me happy because for a while, like everything I tried from CoverGirl was just a fail for me. But this mascara looks so good on the eyes. It does have an hourglass shaped wand, and I feel like this is the perfect wand for adding volume. It does build well. I think it can almost get a little bit clumpy if you go in with a lot of it. Like if I was to go in with 3 coats, I'd probably end up with pretty clumpy lashes, which is not always my favorite look these days. I used to love like a super intense clumpy look because it did give me a ton of drama, but sometimes I'll have to go in with like a lash separator. I've been using one of those and kind of comb out the ends. That can be avoided if you just don't use too much product. Usually if I go in with like 2 coats, I'm good. I would not call this a smudge proof mascara or a waterproof mascara by any means. It does stay in place well on my lashes. I personally haven't experienced any smudging or any flaking with this product, but I feel like if you're prone to that, like if you have really long lashes and they constantly like touch your eyelid, or you end up with like dark circles from mascara by the end of the day, that might happen with this one. The reason I say that is because like whenever I'm testing a new mascara, usually I'll just like take a little bit of water on my finger and like gently rub my lashes just to see how well it stays in place. This one does not stay in place when I do that. I don't know. If you've tried this, let me know what your experience has been in terms of longevity. For me, I haven't had any issues, but I could see it potentially being a mascara that does smudge by the end of the day. But I do enjoy it. I think it is a really pretty formula. Another product that is definitely not waterproof is this eyeliner from Essence. It is their super fine waterproof brush liner. I actually really like the waterproof felt tip liner from Essence. That one's only a few dollars and I feel like it does stay in place well for me. But typically I do prefer a brush tip. I just think they go on so easily. They glide over the eye. You can get a nice wing without a lot of effort. And I like the way this one applies. It is a very small tip. It's very tapered. So I feel like you can get a very thin line, which is nice. It's not quite as dramatic as other liquid liners I've tried. Like it's a little bit of a softer black, which could be a pro for you. For me personally, I do love a very intense black liquid liner. So I would probably enjoy it if it was a little bit more intense. But this one is definitely not smudge proof. By the end of the day, like it really wears off in my inner corner and then also the wing too. I'll definitely finish it up, but I don't plan on repurchasing it. If you have very dry eyes or if eyeliner like never smudges on you, if that's not a concern for you, I think you'll be perfectly content with this one. But if you have oily eyelids or watery eyes, you'll probably want to go with like a true waterproof version. So Milani launched their Conceal and Perfect Blur Out Powder earlier this year, and I love the powder. I love the formula so much, but the shade they came out with is called Translucent, but it pulls very orange on my skin tone. It's a little bit too dark for me to wear like day to day. If I go in with a very large fluffy brush, I can use it to set my makeup, but it still makes my makeup look just slightly too dark. So anyway, they just launched a banana shade fairly recently, and I picked it up because I thought maybe this would be a little bit better. I will say it looks, again, pretty dark in the packaging. It's not quite as brightening as other banana powders I've tried. That could definitely be ideal for you if you find that a lot of banana powders are a little bit too bright and you want to use it as an actual brightening powder. But I use it to set pretty much my whole face, sometimes under my eyes, and it's fine. It definitely darkens my foundation just a little bit, but not quite as much as the original one. It is incredibly smoothing. It's so lightweight. It's very, very mattifying, more mattifying than I remember. But I think it's because I've been testing it out with other products that are a little bit more mattifying as well. So if you have very dry skin, this might not be the most ideal option. But if you're using like a large fluffy brush, it probably won't be quite as matte on the skin, or it won't look as matte on the skin. I appreciate the mattifying aspect during the summer though, because it has been so hot and so humid and my skin is pretty oily these days. Again, I still wish they would come out with like a true translucent as well. And then I also tried out these Milani Gilded eyeshadow sticks. Everybody's coming out with eyeshadow sticks these days. I'm actually testing out a few other formulas. So when I do like the second part to this video, I'll update you on those and let you know how they compare. But this is the first formula that I've like really thoroughly tested out, and I love these. Milani used to have eyeshadow crayons that came in very different packaging, but I think they've actually improved the formula. These are such good one and done eyeshadows. I never used to be like the biggest fan of a one and done eyeshadow, but I definitely see the value in it these days. I feel like I'm always running out the door with my toddler, like he's always on the go. And when I'm trying to do my makeup, like usually an intricate eyeshadow look is like the first thing to go these days. So I've been wearing these a ton. They're incredibly creamy. They look so good on the eyes, really, really smooth. I'll typically just like draw them from like the lash line all the way up to the crease. And then I'll take my finger and just kind of like lightly blend out the edges. And then I'll usually take the same color on like my waterline, my lower lash line for like an easy eyeshadow look. I do have two of these on my eyes today. So I actually just use these on my waterline and then a little bit on my lower lash line too. I originally went in with the shade Sand, which is kind of like a light champagne. And then I just took a little bit of Desert, which is kind of like a coppery golden bronze, and went over with that as well. These are really, really gorgeous though. They feel like high-end eyeshadows. A few complexion products. I tried this concealer from Pacifica. This is the DreamLit Glow Concealer. First of all, the packaging is so stunning. I just think this is like the prettiest concealer I've ever seen. It does come in a glass bottle, and I love like the pink that fades to clear. The actual applicator is nice. It's very small, so I love that you can like really precisely apply this. I always like putting concealer right in this area right here, and some applicators are just a little bit too big for that. This, I have mixed feelings about this. I don't think this is going to be a fail for everyone. I just don't love this on my skin. It's definitely a little bit of a thicker formula. It blends out fairly well, and I would say it has more of like a medium coverage finish. If you use a damp sponge, you can get like a true light coverage finish, and it definitely has like this reflective quality to it. It's not overly radiant and it's not like shimmery, but it gives you like this natural glow. My issue is that, first of all, it does crease really, really badly. So it's definitely something that I have to set into place with powder. I set pretty much all of my concealers with powder. When I do that, it definitely erases like that natural glow. So it kind of diminishes the part that I love most about this. It also ends up looking pretty heavy and cakey on my skin by the end of the day. Like some products, as they sit on my skin, just look really heavy by the end of the day. And that's definitely the case with this one. So it's not my favorite for me, but I feel like it could work for other people. If you're someone who doesn't typically set your concealer, I think you'll love the fact that this does look really natural and pretty on the skin. I think I'm going to pass these along to my sister and see if she likes this formula because, again, I feel like there are people out there who will enjoy this. It's just not me personally. Elf launched their liquid poreless putty primer. To be honest with you, I did not expect to like this as much as I do. I thought I would like it because I do like the original putty primer, but when it comes to Elf's primers, their Power Grip is definitely my go-to. The original putty primer goes on well, but I do feel like after it's been open for a while, it feels like it's dried out. So it's almost like when you apply it to the skin, there's like a little bit of tugging. It's not quite as smooth as it is when you open a brand new one. This one feels very smooth, like you can work it into the skin really easily. A lot of smoothing products or products that are kind of marketed toward people who have very large pores tend to be like very silicone feeling or slippery, or my foundation breaks apart when I wear it on top of a primer like that. That's not the case with this one. Like foundation wears extremely well. It definitely extends the wear of my foundation so nicely. And I feel like it keeps my skin matte all day, even on incredibly hot days. Okay, last complexion product for now, the e.l.f. Suntouchable Sun Protection and Setting Spray. The reason I like this one is because it is an SPF 45 setting spray. I feel like a lot of brands are launching products like this, so if you've tried other ones you like, I would love to know. This is really the only one I've tried, at least recently, and I feel like it does a great job. The actual spray is nice. It's very light, very soft. This does smell a little bit like sunscreen, but it does not irritate my eyes. I know there are other formulas out there that can definitely do that. I wouldn't say it extends the wear of my makeup like the Urban Decay All Nighter. Like that one truly locks my makeup into place all day. Whereas when I wear this one, I do feel like it leaves me with more of a glowy finish. My makeup will wear off a little bit faster. Like I said in my initial video where I was testing this out, this is not adequate sun protection on its own. Make sure you're wearing a sunscreen under your makeup. And then if you want to use this on top, that's great. Now, I will say if you're not someone who's going to take off your makeup and reapply sunscreen and put it back on, that this is better than nothing. If I'm spending all day outside, like we went to a cute little local amusement park with my family last month, then I'll just skip base makeup. I might do my brows and my eyes, or I might wear like a tinted sunscreen because then I can just easily reapply it throughout the day. So, practically speaking, make sure you're reapplying the proper amount. If you don't have the chance to do that, or you're not going to do that, something like this is nice to have to kind of touch up throughout the day. Let's talk some cheek products. So Catrice launched new powder blushes. Catrice blushes never disappoint. I feel like over the years, I've always had some sort of blush from the brand in my collection that I've loved. And they just came out with two new formulas, the Air Blush Glow version, and then also the Air Blush Matte version. Obviously, the matte version is a matte blush. It's a powder blush, but the glow version has like a little bit of like a luminosity to it. It's not glowy in the sense that you would think. Like when I usually talk about a glowy blush, like it's intensely glowy. This one is definitely more subtle. It almost gives the effect of the Hourglass blushes that don't have the shimmer in them, just the ones that have like that light reflecting glow. That's what these look like on the skin. I feel like they're probably a good alternative. These have kind of reignited my love for powder blush. I was wearing the Essence Pure Nude Baked blushes a ton. I love a good baked blush, but those are pretty like shimmery on the cheeks and some have actual glitter in them. So if you want a glow without shimmer or glitter and just something so subtle, I think you'll like the Air Blush glows. And again, if you do like a matte powder blush, these are nice. Very soft, easy to work with, not overly powdery. They just look smooth and even on the skin. So they're amazing and they're only $6. I want to talk about the new ColourPop powdered cheek products. So I have their pressed powder highlighter, their pressed powder blush, and then also their matte bronzer. But they recently just kind of like relaunched them and came out with new shades and put them in this different packaging. Let me start with my least favorite formula and then I'll work my way up to my favorite. The pressed powder highlighter. It just doesn't look good on the skin. First of all, these are not cheap products for the drugstore. They're $12 each. You can always use a code on ColourPop's website and get them for a little bit of a discount, but $12 is still a lot for like a drugstore highlighter. This is very, very dry on the skin. It basically looks chalky, and I feel like every time I wear it, I'm trying to convince myself to love it because it's not the worst looking highlighter I've ever tried, but it's probably the worst highlighter I've tried within like the past 2 or 3 years. I've definitely been a fan of the ColourPop Super Shock Cheek products over the past few years, and those highlighters melt into the skin in such a pretty way. And I feel like this just doesn't compare. If you are a fan of powder highlighters, there are other options out there. I wouldn't recommend picking these up because I think they're poor quality, to be honest. The product that kind of falls in the middle for me is just their matte bronzer. Again, their Super Shock bronzer is so good, and they have matte versions. They're kind of like more of a putty texture or like a cream to powder texture. So they're not as creamy as like a true cream bronzer, but they look really smooth on the skin. And this looks fine, but it's pretty underwhelming. Like it just doesn't do anything for me. When I wear it, I feel like my skin looks kind of dull and I just want something that looks better, like something that looks creamy and smooth and pretty, and I just don't usually get that from this. My favorite out of the three would be their pressed powder blush, and I have enjoyed some of their pressed powder blushes. I do love the ones that come in the heart packaging. The formula is great. It's very silky and really, really smooth, but the heart blushes are so hard to open for some reason. So I like that they have a few options in this packaging. It's definitely a matte blush, but I feel like it looks more smooth and a little more lively on the skin compared to their bronzer. In the end, I would just stick with their Super Shock formula. I think it looks so much better on the skin than this. Okay, we're almost there. This video is getting really, really long. I have a few more lip products to talk about. I did try out the ColourPop Luxe Lip Oils, and I'm just, again, not sold on this formula. I haven't been trying a ton of ColourPop products this year. I do sometimes get PR from them, so occasionally I will try out a new launch, but I haven't purchased many products because I feel like the brand as a whole is just, it doesn't entice me as much these days. I definitely still love their eyeshadows and I use those quite a bit. And I like their foundation. Like there are products I really do love, but I feel like a lot of their new launches haven't been doing it for me. And the price point, while it's still affordable, it's not quite as affordable as it used to be, and I don't think the quality is necessarily going up in a lot of the cases. And this lip oil formula, again, is just so underwhelming. It's kind of like a cross between like a lip oil and a lip balm. It definitely has that moisturizing aspect to it, and it looks pretty, like it looks shiny, it looks glossy, but only for like 20 minutes, and then I feel like it's completely gone. I wish these had a little more color to them. Some lip oils are just so sheer, they basically look clear. And I like when they have a hint of color because I do feel like that can sometimes differentiate them. But like this color and this color pretty much look the same on the lips. Some of them do have like an actual hint of color. So I would look up swatches before I purchased any shades if I was you. But I just don't think these are great. There are so many other lip oils. And again, I just did that video reviewing a ton of them if you want some other recommendations. One lip product that I cannot get enough of is this one from Catrice. This is the Lip Jam Hydrating Lip Gloss. These are only $5. They're so good. They're incredibly glossy. They feel really luxurious. Like when you swatch this product, you can see like the intense reflective shine. It gives you like that glass-like look. It's so pretty and they're incredibly hydrating. Once they wear off, your lips still feel really hydrated throughout the day. They smell really good. They have 4 different scents. I have mint, and then I also have this one, I Love You Very Much. I think I have a strawberry one and a peach one. I have all of them. They're amazing. You don't need all of them. I did get them in the mail as PR, so I was testing them out to see if the colors were different, and they're not. They're all pretty much the same. So I would go based on like your favorite scent, but I love them. I cannot get enough of them. I know I said I got them as PR. What else did I get as PR? I usually try to differentiate and I just completely forgot. I got the Pacifica concealer as PR. I got the Milani eyeshadow sticks as PR. I got the ColourPop, all of the ColourPop products as PR, and the Catrice blushes as PR. But I mean, as you can see, like some PR I loved and some I hated. So that doesn't make a difference in my reviews. It just gives me the chance to try out multiple products to review on my channel. But even if I get something in the mail as PR, like I'll just fully share the pros and the cons and tell you if it's good or bad. Anyway, 2 last products to talk about. These are the e.l.f. Squeeze Me lip balms. So I purchased 2 of them. I got grape and then I also got strawberry. These are really, really scented. I like the scents. I think they're fun, but if you don't like scented products, skip over these. These are nice. I think I read online that they kind of replaced their Ride or Die lip balms with this product. It's definitely different than the Ride or Die lip balm. That was a very thick formula, almost like an overnight lip treatment formula, whereas this is more of like a thin, glossy formula. It's something that you'll have to reapply maybe like every hour, hour and a half, but it's nice. It's a little bit thinner. I personally prefer this formula, but I know a lot of people loved the Ride or Die lip balms. Those always felt a little bit too thick for me personally. I like the fact that these are a little bit thinner, but they're very, very moisturizing. I was wearing one last night just while I was editing, and even like 2 hours later after I had it on, my lips still felt really, really hydrated. So I think these are great. They are pretty small. I was just kind of comparing them to the Catrice lip products. These come with 0.21 ounces, and the Catrice ones come with 0.33. I think they're a similar price. These are actually $4, so a little bit less expensive, but I feel like if you are someone who reapplies your lip balm like multiple times a day, you'll probably fly through these so much faster than the Ride or Die lip balms because you have to apply more of it. The last product that I have is the e.l.f. lip exfoliator, and I have brown sugar. e.l.f. basically like redid their lip exfoliators. They came out with different flavors. I went with brown sugar because it's like a very nostalgic product for me. I've always had the e.l.f. lip exfoliator and brown sugar in my collection for as long as I can remember. I think they've improved this formula a lot. It's a lot softer than it used to be. The original formula was kind of hard, and I felt like after a little while it was so hard that it was uncomfortable to apply to the lips. This is definitely softer. It feels a little bit more moisturizing. I think it still does a great job of exfoliating the lips. I think the improvements they made to this were perfect, and it's a great option if you're looking for an affordable lip exfoliator in your collection. Okay, that was a long video. I already know because I feel like I've been sitting here forever. So I'll try to cut it down in editing so it is not forever long, but that's why I had to split it into two because I have even more products to talk about. But I just wanted to do like a full roundup, share my thoughts on these products. I hope it was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. If you like drugstore videos, I'll put a couple of related ones on the screen, and I'll see you very soon with a new one. Bye.